Good morning, everyone. Welcome to warm-ups for the first time in 2021. We made it out of 2020. Congratulations, everybody. Welcome to all the new people that haven't been to the warm-ups before. It's great to see you all. Great to see so many people here this morning. And welcome to the old guard. You guys have been here before. And welcome to all of our Invested Musician family that have joined us again. We have a very, very special guest this morning. A very, very famous person, Angie.
Angie's here. Look.
Hi, Angie.
Hello, everybody. Look, how many of you have heard of this photoshopped horns things that's been going online? Aaron Robinson is the genius behind all this. And I just thought when I heard Andrew announce that there was going to be a surprise guest and she lives in Berlin, I was like, yeah, right, Andrew, really well hidden there. So I just thought I'd ask Aaron to do one. Don't you think Angie looks great? Thank you, Aaron, for that. This is the original one. Hi again.
Ah, there we go. That's a more familiar sight, Sarah, I think. All right, let's get going. We're going to start with some chromatics. Very, very simple chromatics starting on a concert F, middle C. On the F horn, we're just going to go down a tritone and back up again. Very, very, very simple. Okay, terrific. That's a good one to get us going. We're gonna move on to the poo exercise. So the poo exercise, I wanted to start this one with the mouthpiece just so that you get the feeling of this. So we start with our lips together and you're just gonna blow through your lips and make a poo sound. Maybe not what you would expect as a poo sound. So this exercise we start with an eighth note, pianissimo. And we gradually increase the dynamic and the length until we get up to the ninth note, and then we add the articulation on the ninth note. So we play 8 notes without articulation, and then the ninth note with articulation. So this is a really good one for me. I like doing this one early in the morning. This one is from Håkan Hardenberger, actually. And it's really good for trusting the airstream to start notes. So we'll just alternate. Oh, on a concert B flat, F. Start again. Okay, terrific. We're gonna move on. I'm gonna do two more, and then we're gonna get some of Sarah's warm ups because hers are much more difficult than mine. So I'm the setup guy. We get to do the nice easy ones. So we're gonna do repeated note pattern. So we're just gonna alternate between ourselves. The focus is on moving the air, just focusing on letting the air be the same for each group, and the tongue is just cutting that airstream. Okay, terrific. All right, Sarah Willis is going to give us a Sarah Willis warm-up special.
Well, the thing is, Andrew, you do these great warm-ups where everyone can warm up together. And when I do I can't stand group warm-ups, to be honest. I mean, I love you all, but
You're in the wrong place.
the best thing about this group warm-up is you don't hear everybody. Much as I'm sure it all sounds fantastic, but like when you go into a room and everyone's sitting there with their horns, and actually there's not a lot you can do because well, at least I don't think there's a lot you can do if everyone's playing all together, because you can't listen to your own sound. And for me, warming up is about finding my own sound and playing. Mick Mulcahy told me on a horn hangout, always play with the best sound you can, you know, even if it's first thing in the morning or last thing at night, or if your chops are smashed, or if you're not feeling well, always play with the best sounds you can. And so that's what I do in the morning. So it's funny because Andrew, a principal horn player, starts his warm-up quite low down, which I think is great, but actually I start mine higher up. And the first thing I do actually is not with the horn, and I think we should do it because it's first thing in the morning for all of you guys. I just get my shoulder. Try doing this. Horn players always forget to do this. Try that. Doesn't that feel good? And around the other way. And then, because that's something we get stuck in this position, you know. When we go into our coffins, we're going to all be like this, with this shoulder up, with this shoulder down, and our arms in this position. So just remembering to do that. My physiotherapist said this is one of the most important things you can do as a horn player, is just to. And then also, because I've had quite a lot of problems here with my wrist, they're fine now, but there was a time where my wrist was bugging me so much I could do everything except this, you know, except the bit that goes in the bell. So when I was having treatment on that, I started being very aware. You see all the often you see violinists doing stretching out, you think, yeah, get a move on. But actually, it's a really good idea, even for horn players. So if you put your hand out, I burned myself yesterday, put your hand out and pull the fingers back like that, and just stretch that a little bit, and then put your wrist forward and just do that. And especially with your bell hand, you feel they're a little bit different. At least I do. I don't know, Andrew? This one is a bit stiffer than the other one. I don't know. It's just maybe years of horn playing. And shake it out. And I really will do that most days before I start playing the horn. And then pick up the horn. And the first notes I do, it's a trumpet exercise by Stamp. Do you guys know this one? What's his first name?
James Stamp.
James Stamp.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I love the bending, and I first got this from Freudis, because she said, oh, bend. I didn't know what she was talking about, so I bent my knees, but she meant the note. And this bending is so good in the mouthpiece because it strengthens and flexibilizes. Is that a word? The muscles in the mouthpiece. So I do this first thing in the morning, or for whenever I warm up. It's not first thing in the morning here, but these are my first notes, to make a beautiful sound and to bend the note. So I'll try and play it for you, and then you play it back to me. And I won't be able to hear you, but I'm sure you're going to be great. Right, ready? I'll play you the first phrase and you play it after me. Starting on a C. With the most beautiful sound you can. Fill that pedal C with a lot of air. Okay, so but this, apart from making the most beautiful sound you can, this is for me really important. If you try that again, I'm not going duh. I'm literally doing it with these muscles inside the mouthpiece. And dropping the jaw while I do it. Yeah? Right, C sharp. So this, if you're not, the warm-ups we do as professional players before a day of work or whatever, or the warm-ups that students do, I have the feeling that they are turning into like athletic pursuits sometimes. For me, a warm-up is literally that. It's just warming up. It's warming up the body, warming up the shoulders, getting the air going, make a beautiful sound. But I'm always trying to fit a lot into a short period of time. So my warm-ups tend to be a little bit more acrobatic maybe, and I put a lot of things together in one go. If you have more time, then you can make all sorts of different variations of that. You know, you could even start from low down. From a low G. It would depend what I'm doing that day, how I warm up. But these classes, and of course with the various standards of playing, Andrew does it really brilliantly, and he does exercises that are good for everyone. This is an exercise, you can just take it apart, you can just do a triad and bend one of the notes. It's important to do what's good for you in the mornings, you know, and just because I say do this or Andrew says does this, it doesn't mean it's necessarily perfect for you. You can make your own variations of it. You know, it's important to feel warmed up in the morning. Anyway, that is a really important thing for me, and I do that even before. I'm not a buzzer. It doesn't sound very nice, and I prefer to make a nice sound, so I do my buzzing on the horn. Yeah, so that would be the first thing I would do, and then I'd start with the production, and I got that from Farkas, and I would do a very simple production, which is actually what he starts with, starting on a low G. And we can try this. What's really important is never do an exercise just for the sake of doing an exercise. Always do an exercise with the intent of making it as perfect as you can and also ticking as many boxes. So with this exercise, we want to make a beautiful sound. We want to make the notes perfectly in tune, have the tongue work perfectly, and keep your embouchure from doing all sorts of sort of weird acrobatics, keeping it quite stable. So we start on a G. And we go like this. It's really simple, but it's good in the mornings. Now you. La, la. Before you start that one, make sure that your support is working as well. You're just not going da, da, but you're going da, ha, ha, like you would as a singer. You can also try it sometimes without the tongue. Try that one. Try it with the A, starting on the A without the tongue, and see how that works for you. Another one without the tongue, starting on the B flat. You're all sounding marvelous. Heidi asked everyone, does it matter if you're using the F or the B flat side? Now, I don't mind. I sort of mix around. I play on a lot of F horn below on a G, for example, an F sharp. So no, not really, not at this point. I play the stamp and this exercise on the notes I feel comfortable. But once I finished these quite easy exercises, then I move on to the F horn. But I don't know whether we want to do all of that today, Andrew. What do you say?
I think we would love to.
We would?
Yeah, okay. I definitely think that's a great idea.
Okay, all right. So anyway, the one we just did, it can go, it depends on what you're doing in the day. You can also start that if you have a day on low horn, and you can start. etc. But always controlled, and don't take your mouthpiece off your lips while you're doing it. That's cheating. You want to keep it very controlled. And then Ken says have hard time getting something out of bending, tends to decrease the airstream, pull down your face. You shouldn't pull down your face, but your jaw should go. You know what? It's time for the scary look. I don't know. Will this help? Like that. That's what I'm doing inside the mouthpiece. Of course, the higher you go, the higher you go, the less space there is to bend. There's a lot of space to bend on the bottom. There you're really using do. But if you're doing a high C, or not a high C, I don't play high Cs, they're too high. I'm not using very much movement. Hang on, I'll get away from the scary bit now. We'll use that again later. The bending, if it's not for you, it's not for you. I find it very useful because it builds up strength with the muscles that are in the mouthpiece, and it keeps my chin stable. And this is one thing, no wobbly chins. Annie Bosler calls it cottage cheese chins, and that's not allowed. In German, it's Hüttenkäse chins. We're not, we don't want that. So this bending is very helpful for me. But if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. Right. I'm going to add a little bit more. So, and then the next thing I do is the F horn, good old F horn. Now, why do we use the F horn? Because it's harder. Ask the Vienna Philharmonic horns. I use the F horn and I use the Farkas exercise. You can make it as simple or as hard as you want. You can do 3 octaves, you can do 4 octaves, you can just do 1 octave. The important thing is make the best sounds you can. Use the F horn. You can use the B flat horn for the very high A flat, but I would do it like this. I'll do it in bits, and then you when I stop, you play. Always making it as full as you can on the way back down. I know your air is giving out, but the more air you use, the more air you will take in. Now, because I can hear you all, I can tell some of you are not making the most beautiful F horn sound you can. Make sure that your throat is always open. F horn will not sound good if you are playing like this. It'll sound like this. We don't want any of that. We want it to be open. Ha 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 ha, not ha 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 ha. So on the next bit, keep it as open as you can and make the most beautiful sound you can. Good. And this bit, of course, use the fingering for the C, otherwise they're all in the Farkas book, this one. It's a really, really useful one. And then you go on up until the C, if you feel like it. Sometimes I notice, okay, it's not going to be so good for me to play all those high Cs. I'm gonna use too many wrong muscles, so I wait till I feel a little bit more warmed up. So actually, Andrew, I'm a little bit boring because I'm not saying anything new today, but you asked me to show you what I did.
It's great. Really, really terrific. We are going to move to something different. Why not? Scales. We have to do scales, right? So we do have to do scales. Let's do scales all together, and then I'm going to tell you my philosophy about scales. Okay. So we'll do repeated note scales. These are really, really simple scales, allowing us to focus on our airstream and making sure everything's nice and easy and connected. So we start on a middle C. Okay, here it comes. For those of you who have no idea what is just happening, F sharp, as everyone who has been here a few times knows, is not really in my wheelhouse. There's something about the coordination with my fingers that F sharp does not agree with. So there have been, if we did a blooper reel of F sharp, which I'm sure we will do at some point, it's going to be very long, but very entertaining. So we'll keep going up a little bit more. Okay, Sarah, tell us about scales.
Well, the thing is, as I said, I'm always trying to do a lot of things at the same time, and and so my warm-ups tend to be quite sort of. I try to get as much done during them as I can, and so I jump around quite a lot. And with scales, I'm a low horn. I play a lot of second horn as well, so I need to keep that sort of flexibility going, and so I will warm up how I need to play in that day. And now we're all in lockdown, and I don't know about you guys, but it really sucks. And we have lots of time to do all this, but back in our normal lives, I don't have time to do all the nice exercises every day. So you do sort of make your own setup. So when I'm doing scales, and I actually think scales, of course, really important, but I get bored of just starting on a C, doing C sharp, doing D. So one of the ways I practice them is starting on C. So we can play C 2 octaves, starting on a low C, and then changing, and then okay, today we'll always go in a fifth. So let's play C major up and down 2 octaves. With the best sound you can. Okay? A fifth up from that, let's do G major, and we'll do a different articulation, because if you always do the same, it's important to practice what you can't do, not only to practice what you can do. It is important to practice what you can do because it's good for our self-confidence, but it's always good to practice things that are a little bit trickier. So we'll do a different articulation. Really crisp da 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 da. Okay, a fifth from that would be D. It's hard for the brain, right, Andrew? Daya, 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 daya. It's like Koprush. Okay, and up from there, we'll just do one more. That would be A. Now, because I don't like practicing in the high register, but we all have to, I will then do a scale, which means staying a little bit longer in the high register. And play around with it. Everyone's playing around with that A. So you can do whatever you want. And I just think it's just sometimes nice to hear what other people do, and to, rather than sit at home and think, well, how shall I do this today? If any of this inspires you to play around a little bit with your own warm-ups, then that's great. I'm gonna do some of Andrew's.
Yeah, absolutely. Terrific. So Sarah mentioned thinking of making sure that your articulation is coming from below, and this is something that that is I find really, really interesting. So we're going to do a little huffing exercise, but in combination with arpeggio. So she just mentioned arpeggios, so let's do arpeggio. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one arpeggio starting descending as a legato arpeggio, and then we're going to articulate that arpeggio but from your diaphragm. So obviously you can take that one down as far as you like, and you can go up with that, but it's just to make sure that you're connected with your airstream and that you're understanding that we want to keep your tummy flexible, not stuck, and you're not relying that your mouth is doing everything. It's that the airstream is doing all of the work. We are working up towards Sarah's big finale of the exercise that is going to be the challenge for this week. Sarah, what do you think?
I'm here. This exercise, having gone on and on about not doing too many acrobatics and while you're playing and keeping everything firm with a firm chin, this is an exercise which I do literally every day. Well, every day I play the horn. That's not necessarily every day, mostly every day, because a lot of the other stuff I do as a warm-up, I change around depending on what I'm doing that day later, or whether if my warm-up will turn into a full study session if I haven't got anything else to play. And then you can do all sorts of exercises, try all sorts of stuff out. If I've got 5 minutes, I'll do a 5-minute warm-up. But this one, I literally do every day. And it has been really fantastic to keep me flexible for the job that I have to do. Sometimes second, sometimes fourth, sometimes solo, sometimes whatever. And it's also a little bit of a test for me to see how my chops are feeling. If they're feeling sluggish, if they're feeling, slippery, if they're feeling good. Sometimes I play and I think, wow, it's going to be a great day, and then it isn't. But it's usually quite a good test. I got it from my old teacher called Jeffrey Bryant, who is he's retired now, a horn player from England. Used to be in the LSO and the RPO, and was just a really great guy. Well, he still is. He's just not playing the horn that much anymore. And he showed me this exercise. It was a little bit different, and so I changed it to what I want to do. And I don't know how it's going to work. Not being properly warmed up yet, but... Ready for this, Andrew? Okay, We'll see. It'll tell me how my chops are today. Okay, so that told me that my middle range is a little bit bumpy. So I'd have to give more air over the middle range, and I'd have to, the upper notes are okay, the lower notes are all right, but the middle range wasn't so good. So then I'd go on to an E. Now, I don't know, maybe I should do the horrible zoom in, but I'm really trying to move as little as possible. Except when you get to the end, you have to sort of let the chin go down. But sorry, scary. That's what I literally do every day. Maybe it sounds hideous, but it helps. Corners are very important, okay? And also keep it in some sort of rhythm. Don't just go blah, 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 blah. Try and keep it in some sort of rhythm, some sort of order. The reason I do a couple of repeats at the top is because that's the hardest range for me. So I go and I keep the corners in, the chin down, and I'm using these muscles, of course the support, but using the muscles that I used right at the beginning to bend with. So yeah. It's something that's useful for me. It's not necessarily for everybody, but some sort of flexibility exercises we should be doing every day. They don't have to be 4 octaves like that, but you can make up your own.
Awesome. So we are going to finish today with the exercise that we finish with every week as our little tradition. So we're going to finish with the elephant. So this is F1 exercise, good for us moving the air faster as we're going higher and supporting on the way down and starting to coordinate more with articulation. So we start on a middle C. Terrific. You guys sound great. Fantastic. Great to see you all back. Thank you so much, Sarah Willis.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Stay safe.